Sometimes certain cameras capture unedited video footage. Today we will show you, among other things, the terrible moment when a man driving a car at night meets a strange woman dressed in a wedding dress. We will also look at an airplane that came so close to a man that it touched him lightly with its hand, or a tourist who stopped a gigantic elephant that was running at him with a simple hand gesture. Stay with us until the end to discover the video footage that would be impossible to believe if they hadn't been caught in camera. Whales are quite incredible creatures. It is therefore not without reason that many people dream of seeing them, at least once in their lives. This is why a group of people decided to go on an exceptional outing during the summer to see whales from afar. But they had no idea that a real surprise awaited them. Thus, in the St. Lawrence, located in Tadoussac, Canada, people on the Zodiac were waiting for the moment when a whale would appear. To their great delight, they were able to see a whale in the distance making a small dive. But at one point, while everyone was holding a cell phone to film this surprising marine creature, another whale appeared out of nowhere, suddenly and in such a way that it found itself very close to the Zodiac. It was really impressive. In fact, the people aboard the Zodiac couldn't help but express their great surprise. It's certain that this outing is likely to leave a lasting impression on everyone's mind. Here, now, is a man who probably had the scare of his life. The reason? Well, he narrowly avoided death. At Duckett's, near Pudsey, in the north of England, a young man, dragging his bicycle, made his way a little hastily along the railway tracks. After seeing the first train pass by, the cyclist opened the safety gate to cross the tracks, certainly thinking that the way was clear. While the second gate was still closed, the young man made the big mistake of not paying attention to the safety lights before continuing on his way. So, while the cyclist was in the middle of the tracks, a second train arrived at full speed. The collision was avoided by very little. This young man probably saw death pass very close because this recklessness could have been fatal to him. It is certain that he will never make the same mistake again, at least we hope not. You're never safe from danger. Sometimes accidents happen without anyone expecting them. Luckily, it is always possible to escape them thanks to an almost miraculous chance. The proof is with this man who simply wanted to enter a store in Jiangsu Province, China. Just as he entered, a huge 65-meter-long sign suddenly crashed to the ground just behind him for some mysterious reason. You can even see in this video footage recovered from the surveillance camera how shocked this man was. And we can see why. If he had waited just a few seconds before entering the store, the gigantic sign would have fallen on him. It must have been a close call for this man. Not everyone likes rides, and sometimes it's for a good reason. Indeed, it is not unlikely that sometimes accidents do happen there. This is certainly the reason why this 19-year-old woman, named Netta, has been riding against her will on the amusement park called La Boule at the Throne Fair in France. Netta had a terribly bad feeling about the idea of experiencing such a ride and seemed very worried. And that was not wrong, because as soon as the ride started the comfort bar strangely disengaged. At that moment, there was real panic, even for the person accompanying him. Luckily for Netta, she was able to get off the ride unharmed, and in the end, there was more fear than harm. However, this young woman confided to the press after the incident that she thought she was dying and that she was screaming and asking her friend not to let her go. This experience certainly proved to be a real fright for her. This man is really lucky. Indeed, on the West Indian island of St. Barthélemy, this tourist went near the St. Jean-Gustave III airport to photograph planes up close. This airport is, moreover, considered one of the most dangerous in the world, despite its idyllic setting. One of the reasons is due to the runway, which is not only very short but is also wedged between a beach and a mountain, forcing planes to fly barely over the road. Aware of the danger but completely obsessed with his desire to take incredible pictures, the tourist went to one of the mountains just to take beautiful pictures of planes. But it was at that moment that one of the planes that were about to land brushed against the tourist, touching his hand. The scene is almost unreal. We can see in this video, filmed by Sebastien Politano, who was standing right next to the tourist, that the plane really brushed against the young man. Despite this, he kept taking pictures while smiling at the camera. The tourist probably didn't realize yet how lucky he was. In fact, the two young men did not realize the enormous danger until they reviewed the images that had been filmed. Although the images they were able to take are exceptional, they will probably not be ready to make the same mistake again. This tourist has proven to the world that he is capable of real feats. In the jungle of Phu Luang Wildlife Sanctuary, Thailand, this man was initially walking naturally in the forest like any other hiker. But what awaited him was incredible. Filmed by one of his friends, the man began to observe an elephant standing a few meters away from him. Probably annoyed that he couldn't eat quietly, the animal suddenly ran straight at the tourist. Against all odds, the young man was able to get away without a scratch. How, would you say? Well, all he had to do was raise his hand in front of the elephant. Immediately, the animal turned around. It's really miraculous. But then, is it a stroke of genius or an incredible stroke of luck? We'll never know. Nevertheless, it took a big dose of courage, or recklessness, to rely on a simple gesture to get out of it. So, after this incredible scene, the tourist turned to the camera and offered him a smile oscillating between pride and joy of being alive. We are sure that this tourist will remember his little jaunt into the jungle for a long time to come. Before continuing the video, here's the question of the day: when was the first color photograph taken? Is it option A, 1861, option B, 1912, option C, 1784? Write the right answer in the comments and we'll see at the end of the video if you were right. Here is now an almost surreal video. Filmed by a professional cameraman, this video proves how lucky some people are. We can see an all-terrain motorcycle crossing the dunes at high speed, but at one point, when the biker did not have a clear view of the road because of the dunes, an accident was narrowly avoided. A man was standing in the middle of the road the biker was riding on. The speed of the motorcycle, but also a dune, allowed the motorcycle to gain a certain height so that it jumped over the man in its path. Fortunately, the man was already crouching when the motorcycle passed. Therefore, all he had to do was roll over to avoid a possible accident. However, even if he was able to get away without any damage, he was still in a state of real anxiety. In July 2018, Russian sportsman Timur Morganov was scared to death during a meeting in Rabat, Morocco, broadcast on RMC Sport 1. So, when it came time to prove himself, Timur took off, but unfortunately, he hit the bar. Nevertheless, that's not why he was so scared. In fact, you can see that his eyes in the landing area are more amazed than disappointed. The reason is that this Russian sportsman realized that his pole pierced not only his shorts but also his t-shirt, and this without any injury. It's amazing, isn't it? Therefore, by the time he noticed how lucky he was, he could no longer afford to be disappointed because of the momentum that did not allow him to win the contest. He really could have hurt himself very badly. That was close. To say the least, this man, named Connor Cogan, had started the year 2016 in a somewhat turbulent manner. And with a good reason. On the 1st of January 2016, this Irish man living in Australia went fishing with his friends 40 kilometers off the coast of Sydney. On this trip to Port Stephens, the crew captured a dreaded marlin determined to save his life at all costs. This video footage, posted on social networks, shows the men struggling to pull their lines out of the water to bring the marlin back on board. But the fish decided otherwise. Indeed, as the marlin was very close to the boat, it made an impressive jump, passing only a few centimeters from the fisherman Connor, who was almost impaled by the marine animal. This man was very lucky. The marlin's rostrum could have seriously injured him. Connor Cogan certainly has a lucky star over his head. Here is, now, a unique video, probably filmed by a home security camera. We can see at the beginning a young man holding an umbrella and standing while being accompanied by his dog. So far so good. But at one point he felt a tree branch about to fall on him, probably because of the wind and rain. That's when, trying to dodge it, the man slipped and ended up in the mud. After that, he did indeed realize that the danger was not so great in the end. Poor young man. While driving around in a car, you can sometimes see totally impressive things, even quite strange ones. This is the case of this man who, during the night, was in his car. In the distance, he could see a white silhouette on the side of the road. When you get closer, you can see that it is a woman dressed in a wedding dress, reaching out her hand as if she were hitching a ride. This scene is as incredible as it is frightening. For sure, no one would have believed it, if this video sequence hadn't been caught in camera. Now it's your turn to tell us in the comments which of these sequences is, in your opinion, the most surprising? If not, the first color photograph dates from 1861. It was Thomas Sutton who took the photograph of a tartan ribbon in color under the control of James Clerk Maxwell. I hope that many of you found the right answer.